So this is the last one. Only 3 episodes in this brand new series I did, because next week's going to be the actual previews, probably with Kristen, Guapo, etc. So before we get into this, I really hope you've liked this very, very short, small 3-episode series. Let's talk about it. That's probably the shittest intro I've ever done. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is the last edition of Road to Icons, TakeOver, and SummerSlam weekend. I want to start off with a little bit of an apology. There was no NXT review last night, and that sucks. I put it out there to Twitter just to let you guys know that there wasn't going to be an NXT review, and I started thinking, and you know, I talk to you guys about what's going on with me sometimes. When we do the collabs, myself, Kristen, Guapo, whether it's me and Kristen doing the movie stuff, more recently me and Guapo doing the AEW stuff, the pay-per-view previews back when we used to do the pay-per-view pick'em, etc. There have been occasions where I've promised you guys a collab with them, and they've had to back out, they've had to change plans or delay a day or whatever. They're always very apologetic to me, they're always very apologetic to you guys as well. And the thing that I always say to them is, you know, don't worry about it. You know, real life comes first. Sometimes real life gets in the way, and this week, real life kind of got in the way. Not really going to get into it. A bunch of personal drama, a bunch of really, really overloading of work for myself at work the past sort of week and a half or so. Plus I haven't been feeling that great, plus I haven't been sleeping, and I kind of look like shit, hence the gimmick hat. You know, you guys have been watching me for a long time, you know the gimmick hat was from back when me and Kristen and Guapo used to do the live video collabs, and I found this the other day, so I thought I'd throw it on tonight. Also, I think I look like shit, because that's what feeling like shit does to you. But here now, and it's one of those, you know, if you can get yourself charged up for the next day and you can press on, move forward, that kind of thing. And at least, this is going to sound weird to you guys, and I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent before we get into this. Wrestling is not always great. Wrestling, talking about wrestling isn't always great, but wrestling for me has been a bunch of things. I mean, you guys saw the big ramble I did as the prologue of the John Cena video I did a couple of years ago, and it's, you know, why do I care about John Cena ruining wrestling? Why do I care so much about wrestling and all that sort of thing? Doing this, and I'm looking over there because I'm being all serious with you guys for a second. Doing these videos, talking to you guys, those of you that are still listening, yes, I know my audience is going down, that's fine. Whatever it is, what it is. It's a cool therapy thing for me, because if I have a shitty day, or if I just, you know, cash it in and I don't do anything that day, call in sick to work, you know, cancel social plans and, you know, totally shut out the world, but I managed to get my shit together enough to come up here for 20 minutes and talk to you guys about something that we're all excited about, which in this case is pro wrestling. And it feels like on a day where I might not have done anything, it feels like I've done something. And that's a pretty cool thing. So to any of you that are watching this is being full disclosure, this is being taped on Thursday. This is the night after I should have done my NXT review. This is going to be going up tomorrow night, where I'm probably going to go see Hobbs and Shaw while this is uploading, to be perfectly honest with you. But any of you watching this are really just taking part in making me feel like I've done something today. And that's super cheesy, but I really do appreciate it. And all the feedback and comments and all that sort of thing, because really, especially with this series, all I'm doing is getting super excited about my plans 2 weekends from now. So any of you that are actually interested in that are amazing. So let's switch gears and do that and figure out why my camera is flashing a light at me once again. Hold on, guys. Clearly my camera does not like me talking about real stuff with you guys, and unfortunately I do have to say once again, I do apologize if I sound a bit like crap, because I do still feel a bit like crap. Gimmick hat is going to cover up the face that I probably look like crap, and we're going to move on. Destiny Icons. It's pretty much set at this point, Destiny Icons. We've talked about Joey Ryan versus RJ City, which is going to be hilarious. We've talked about the 5-way for the Next Generation Championship, which I really hope my boy Aiden Prince wins. Tennille Dashwood taking on not Shotzi Blackheart, aka Silesia Sparks, which is a bummer. I still think Shotzi Blackheart's going to show up at some point, and I really hope that that does happen. Channing Decker in his deathmatch, cage match thing with Ricky Shane Page is going to be good. OVE versus SCU was the first match that was announced about this when the show was first announced. But we had to solve two big mysteries the last time I was up here talking to you guys about this particular show, because Josh Alexander had put out an open challenge. Josh Alexander being our current Destiny World Champion, and they had announced that Mustache Mountain was going to be coming back to Destiny for a night, and we didn't know who they were going to be facing. Now, the weird thing about this is these two things sort of come together, because Mustache Mountain, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven are taking on Josh Alexander and Michael Elgin, which is awesome. I like Michael Elgin from the little bit that I've seen him. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about British Strong Style and how much I've gotten to see them at Destiny, and that's really, really cool. But it means that Josh Alexander doesn't have a title match, which only makes me think even more that we're going to get Channing Decker cashing in their version of the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is going to be really cool, because what it means is we get an exhibition tag team match between, like, I guess you would say British Strong Style and Canadian Strong Style with Josh Alexander. That's sort of his thing. And Michael Elgin, I think, just follows suit. But I think after the tag match, you get Channing Decker cashing in that briefcase, or at least I hope we do. And that seems like an unfair advantage, because Josh Alexander would just be finishing a title match. But Channing Decker would be, like, licking his wounds from a steel cage death match with Ricky Shane Page. Once again, I don't know anything about Ricky Shane Page, but I do know that I have seen Channing Decker be thrown out of the ring into the bleachers through a door after having tattoo needles lodged in his forehead. So, if anything, they'll be about even. So if that ends up being the little bonus that we get at the end of the night, that is just fine and wonderful by me. I don't know. I mean, Alicia Atu has been announced as the host once again. Alicia Atu is also been announced for StarCast around the time of All Out, and Alicia Atu is really good, but fucking gorgeous as well. So that's a plus. I mean, Destiny was announcing the specific referees that were going to be involved in this. Now I don't know necessarily much about that, but this is shaping up to be a really good show. As I say, first time I'm seeing Emma live, first time I'm seeing Joey Ryan live, so we'll see how that goes. First time in a long time that I've seen RJ City. Like I said last time, if you want to go back on my channel, you can see RJ City singing the Golden Girls theme to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, because wrestling is just awesome sometimes. Now, what do? From Icons 2, we go to TakeOver 2 with NXT. And what did we really establish last night? I should talk at some point. I mean, we went on with the breakout tournament, which I gotta say, I want to be excited about it, but each and every single time that I've voted for somebody, they've gone off every single time. I mean, I think ACH is still in it, which is fine. They had DJ Z in there, and I wanted him to do something because he's got the whole, like, Disco Predator thing going on. And last night, Bronson Reed is out because Cameron Grimes beat him with, like, a weird double stomp thing. We saw some interaction between Shayna Baszler and Mia Yim, which is good. That was, like, it was different because Shayna Baszler, the simplest way I can say this is they don't present Shayna Baszler like a women's wrestler. They present her like a wrestler, and it's as much as I like women's wrestling, the fact that she is not being presented as a women's wrestler makes her the most badass women's wrestler they have, and I would say even over and above Ronda Rousey, because Ronda Rousey does the weird eye thing, and she's out making babies right now, which is fine. But we did get the announcement that we're going to get a secondary women's match on the card at TakeOver, and that's going to be Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai, which is going to be good. And I hope that on the pre-show they announce that it's going to be some kind of hardcore match, some kind of Singapore cane match, something not too gimmicky, because it's NXT and they don't really go too gimmicky. But I mean, the two of them in a Singapore cane match beating the ever-loving shit out of each other, it would be apropos in this case. Or even throw them in a cage. I really don't care. I'm going to see a cage match the previous night with Decker and Page, so why not 2 nights in a row, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai. And let's just say Io Shirai as a heel just puts on that role like a glove, doesn't she? Candice LeRae is Candice LeRae, and that's all good. And it's really cool to see her not being somebody else's friend, not being Johnny Gargano's wife, just out there doing the wrestling thing. Street Profits versus Fish and O'Reilly, we've already talked about. Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne. how fucking good is that match gonna be? We saw Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne last night. We saw the interaction with Pete Dunne and Velveteen Dream. As much as I love Roderick Strong being in this, and as much as the story of Undisputed Era getting all the gold at the end of the night, which I don't think is going to happen, is a thing. I said this a couple weeks ago, I believe, and I still think this is true. I think Pete Dunne versus Velveteen Dream 1-on-1 is a much more interesting match. Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim. As I say, Mia Yim is a badass, the modern urban Lita, as I've been saying that she is for a while now. And Shayna Baszler is a badass that I used to not like at all. So I'm all good there. Cole Gargano has like match of the night potential, and it's the one I'm least hyped about. Now that's because they've fought a whole bunch, and that's fine. But it's one of those weird things, and I'm gonna quote Michael Hamflett from What Culture. It's like Cole Gargano is gonna be a good wrestling match on a card of a bunch of good wrestling matches. But I mean, Candice LeRae and Io Shirai has a story. Street Profits and Fish and O'Reilly sort of fit into that we all want the gold thing. Velveteen Dream, Roderick Strong would have been a good enough match on its own to continue that Undisputed Era thing, but the insertion of Pete Dunne is electrifying to that match. Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim is a match that I wanted to see all along. You guys know that I was kind of getting sick of babyface Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler, and I wasn't quite ready to see babyface Candice LeRae going up against Shayna Baszler because I think she would get destroyed. But Mia Yim is an interesting cog in the wheel. Cole Gargano, because we've seen it, it could be the best match of the night, but it's the least interesting match to talk about because you run the risk of just talking yourself in circles and saying what we said before their last 2 out of 3 falls matches, before their last singles match, and that kind of sucks in a way because Cole Gargano is something that before it happened we all wanted it to happen, and now it's happening, and it hasn't fallen off, it hasn't lost any steam, it's dwarfed by the rest of this card, which is awesome. And you know what else is awesome about this card is there's no Cassius Ohno, and that makes me sound like a big dick, but it is what it is. They moved him over to the UK brand, which doesn't really make any sense either, but it keeps him off TakeOver Toronto, and I don't have to see him live, which is great. Unless they have him on that what's that weird, like they tape the NXT, the next episode of NXT before they tape the TakeOver, because the next episode of NXT is basically a replay show. It looks like a really good card, and even if I wasn't going to see it live, I would say this has got to be in contendership for probably one of the best takeovers that I can remember in recent memory. I mean, it doesn't have a gimmick towards it. It doesn't have the War Games thing. I'm not gonna lie, the War Games thing is it runs the risk of being a bit tacky, but I wouldn't mind it coming to Toronto. There's a whole lot of cross-branding rumor that eventually we're gonna get the Undisputed Era versus the Club once Finn Balor is in there. That's intriguing, I guess. There's that weird new group they have on the main roster forming between Roman and the Usos and Cedric Alexander, which doesn't quite make sense, but they could take on the Club or the Undisputed Era. Who knows? But that's Survivor Series, and that's a long way away. Survivor Series was the last Big Four pay-per-view we got up here, and we got that weird short Goldberg and Lesnar match that everybody else was mad about, and I literally missed because I was looking down at my phone. Speaking of the main event, or speaking of the main roster, I should say, SummerSlam. Now, let's, a lot of these are rumors. A lot of these are, pinch a Dave Meltzer on all this, or, hearing it through What Culture. Surprise, surprise. But apparently, Bryan is the one that tossed all the scaffolding down on Roman Reigns, even though everybody wants it to be Buddy Murphy, which I think would be amazing. And once again, flashing light on my camera. Sorry, guys. And once again, we are back. Technology just doesn't want to work for me tonight. As I said, it's been that kind of week. Bryan Roman, it's been pointed out that this match hasn't happened since, I think, 2015. It was Fastlane. It was before WrestleMania. We were all getting ready to have Roman in the title picture, and we didn't want him. We turned on that. Daniel Bryan was the guy we wanted. Why would they put this match together? Rah. But the roles have kind of switched. I mean, Roman never stopped being a face, but Daniel Bryan is playing this weird, annoying heel who hasn't really made an announcement yet, who's been promising an announcement that always keeps either getting interrupted or he keeps walking away from. Bryan attacking Roman in the back with the scaffolding doesn't really make any sense. Where does that leave the Eric Rowan character? Eric Rowan squaring off with Roman Reigns is something that would happen in that scenario that I really don't care about. Everybody's saying that Bryan Roman is sort of like a dream match scenario, sort of the wrestler versus the superstar, and I'm like, no, the last time we had the absolute wrestler versus superstar was CM Punk versus John Cena. Now that's not popular because John Cena's a part-timer now and CM Punk is CM Punk, but it's really true. Daniel Bryan, who succeeded only in the absence of CM Punk, and Roman Reigns, who WWE wants to be the next John Cena, does not make it Punk Cena. It doesn't. And if it's just there and it's on the card and it's quick and it's a squash match, I really, really don't care. What I do care about, though, is we seem to be reigniting this feud between Andrade and Rey Mysterio. We saw the Fatal 5-Way or the 5-Way Gauntlet match to see who's going to face AJ Styles, and don't worry, we're going to talk about that in a second. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. That's why do you guys watch this? Andrade tried to tear up Rey Mysterio's mask, leading to the heavily rumored hair versus mask. And you know what? It's one of those things that it's incredibly gimmicky, but we haven't seen it in a while. And I'm just down with it. I'm down with these guys getting some proper pay-per-view time, regardless of what the stipulation is. If Andrade ends up getting his head shaved, which is realistically what it's going to be, I think Rey Mysterio's went on record as saying that he's going to put it in all of his contract. After what happened in WCW, where he, what did he join? He joined like the Dirty Rascals or something to that effect after he was unmasked, and they basically tried to make him like the gangster in the overalls and all that sort of thing, and that just didn't work at all, and he looked like a 5-year-old. Because he Rey Mysterio, and I say this with no disrespect, it's just because we're so used to seeing him in masks. Rey Mysterio is a weird looking dude, and his kid is like twice as tall as him. I will say, though, if Dominic comes down to the ring, turns heel, and screws over his dad, and his dad gets unmasked, and he teams with Andrade or some retardedness like that, I would be in for that, because that's just crazy enough for something to happen in the WWE. It's crazy enough to happen at SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer, and it's crazy enough for it to happen up here in Canada that they refer to as Bizarro Land. So that is what it is. Ali versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and I've got this on the list here not because I've seen any announcements, but because Ali beat Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown. And it's one of those, you beat the champion, you get a shot at the title type of ideas, and I'd like to see it. Ali is sort of doing these vignettes about, you know, what a great person he is and perseverance and all that sort of thing, and they're all a bit cringy, I'm not gonna lie, but I do like watching Ali in the ring. I do think he was robbed when he got injured and Kofi Kingston got the push that he should have gotten. I don't like Kofi Kingston as champion, we all know that. That's another story for another day. Ali versus Shinsuke for another round after what we saw on SmackDown would be great. I would love to see him get the Intercontinental Championship because I think he could have a lot of great matches with a lot of people. I think eventually you get Ali defending the Intercontinental Championship against Sami Zayn, and you have a good series of matches that could take you right through to the Royal Rumble. That's just my opinion on that. Speaking of Sami Zayn is going to take on Aleister Black, which is interesting. He went from Cesaro to Sami Zayn there, with no reason other than I think we're supposed to believe that Sami Zayn is picking a fight with Aleister Black to get himself on the SummerSlam card, which is pretty alright. If you watch Simon Miller's Ups and Downs video, you got the Sammy tally of how many times the guy's been jobbed out in like a minute or less on Raw and SmackDown. And when was the last time he was part of anything big or huge? After WrestleMania, he was cutting those wicked promos and whatever, you know, being the critic of the critics and all. And yes, it's a takeoff of, you know, Voice of the Voiceless and all that sort of thing. But then he went and pulled his publicity stunt during Super Showdown while the rest of WWE was in Saudi Arabia. Now, I want to be clear on this because I just said publicity stunt. I commend Sami Zayn for all of his, you know, Sammy for Syria and all that sort of thing, and I don't want to get into the debate on this particular video about whether WWE should be in Saudi Arabia or not. I just think doing that, knowing your employer is going to see it and not expecting any repercussions, wasn't the greatest move. If he wanted to choose that as his hill to die on, that's great. You know, this is what I think about this issue in the world. Whatever the issue is, I don't think he was wrong, but I think he was wrong if he didn't expect backlash from it, if that makes sense. We may not like it. That's where WWE is getting their money from. A company, a business, whatever, follows the money. Is that always moral? Absolutely not. But he's doing something that could potentially fuck with the money of the company that he is working for. And if you do that without expecting some sort of receipt, you're a little bit of an idiot and you don't really know how the world works. That's sad. I'm not saying that that's right, but it's just the way it is. So all those, you know, critic of the critics things fell down. He kind of comes off like a whining twerp now. Like I say, he's being jobbed out. Like he was in the five-way, the gauntlet match for less than 2 minutes, I think. Somebody correct me down in the box below because I don't have a timer. I'm not sitting there watching wrestling with my watch. Miz and Ziggler is another one that's got people really kind of twisted up. Oh my God, why are we seeing this again? Why are we seeing this again? When these guys fought over the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown, it made them both relevant again. It made the IC title relevant again, and it sort of made SmackDown relevant again. Because these guys are both stars. Now, is The Miz the best wrestler in the world? No. I will never say... It's kind of like the Alexa Bliss argument. I like Alexa Bliss. I think she's a great character. I think she's competent in the ring. I don't think she's, you know, Charlotte Flair or anything like that. But she does enough that the character carries the rest of it. And The Miz is very much the same way. People are down on him as the babyface guy. I loved the interaction that the two of them had with Shawn Michaels when Ziggler was just, you know, doing his "it should have been me" thing, and Miz just got really, really serious and really in his face and just do something already. It's like, what's the actor's name that had that famous YouTube thing? Just do it, and it was good. It was like Miz, who even as a face is probably one of the most obnoxious guys in wrestling, found Ziggler so obnoxious that he's like, fuck off and do something. I thought that was really good. You know, the involvement of Shawn Michaels was what it was. Ziggler's now using the Sweet Chin music, which is fine and wonderful. The rumor out of all of this is that it's a red herring. Ziggler's not actually facing The Miz. The Ziggler's actually going to face Goldberg. Now, Undertaker and Goldberg had quite a match in Saudi Arabia, did they not? That was a shit show that made me really, really sad as a wrestling fan. Undertaker got a chance to come back and sort of make amends for it when he did his tag team match with Roman Reigns. They did the Graveyard Dogs thing and the shitty t-shirt that me and Kristen talked about, and all that sort of thing, because I really think both these guys want to get that match out of people's minds, out of people's memories. And if this is how Goldberg's going to do that, put him with Ziggler. Put him with Ziggler. He's, you know, Goldberg has these short burst matches, quick explosive bits of energy, and Ziggler's a ragdoll. He is what he is. So if that's it instead, if Miz comes out and just, you know, has the weird jacket on and the microphone and says, actually, you're not facing me, you're facing Goldberg, and Goldberg comes out and gets the pop. Now, like I said, last time that Goldberg was in the Scotiabank Arena with us fans here in Toronto was with that weird Lesnar match where we didn't expect anything to happen. All I really did was tape his entrance for my buddy James, aka Fear the Spear 1990. Shout out to him, and if it is Goldberg, I'll do it again just for you, buddy. Yeah. If you want somebody that's going to make Goldberg look good, if you want somebody that's going to sell a spear, like literally cut them in half, use Ziggler. Why not? Like, he's not anybody that anybody cares about right now, unfortunately. Miz versus Ziggler could be fun, but Ziggler absolutely selling the fuck out of a spear from Goldberg will be much, much better. And it is... Well, it is and it isn't, but it is better than the rumor that we were going to get Ziggler versus Michaels, because that has the potential to be very, 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 very sad. AJ Styles is taking on Ricochet, which is really good. We're going to continue the rivalry between Ricochet and AJ Styles. These guys, with pay-per-view time on their plate for the U.S. title, is going to be nothing but good. It's going to prolong the AJ Styles and the OC's story. We're going to see somebody come out to back up Ricochet, I'm pretty sure. It's probably going to be the Usos, so you're going to get Ricochet and the Usos versus AJ Styles and the rest of the club, or the OC, or whatever they're calling themselves now, which will be good. Oh, I didn't mention, by the way, Sami Zayn's Canadian, so let's keep a tally. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon in, I don't know whether it's an I Quit match, but the stipulation is that if Kevin Owens wins, he quits WWE. So I hope they turn it into an I Quit match at some point. So there's Kevin Owens, your second Canadian. It's going to be Shane McMahon, and apparently Shane McMahon's going to get the crap kicked out of him. He's going to be written off TV for a while, which is good. Kofi Kingston and his agenda are probably going to steamroll over Randy Orton, which is fine. We've got The Fiend taking on Finn Balor. I already kind of told you guys what I thought about that match. It cannot be the Demon. It has to be regular Finn Balor, because The Fiend's going to win. Now, if you do The Fiend versus the Demon, neither one of those characters can lose. The Demon can't lose. The Demon, again, it's another one of those scenes of the last time we saw the Demon was in Saudi Arabia, and all the face paint melted off, and it was no good. It was really no good, and it was a match with Andrade for no reason. So have regular Finn Balor go in there, get squashed by the Fiend gets to look strong, Balor gets to go out on his vacation for a while, come back, be part of the club. It'll all be good. This video is going to be subtitled, Spaz's fucking camera just doesn't want to work. Anyways, yeah, Fiend is going to beat Finn Balor. That's how that's going to go. Finn's going to go on some sort of sabbatical. He's going to either come back as the Demon and they're going to fight again at maybe the Royal Rumble, or he's going to join the OC, do some heel stuff for a little bit. Now, Charlotte is taking on Trish Stratus, not Sasha Banks. I got what I want. That agenda is on the shelf for now. That's all I'm going to say. Because if I say any more, I'm just going to get riddled in the comment section. Ember Moon versus Bayley. I'm really looking forward to. Bayley's getting more and more of an edge to her. Ember Moon isn't really being super babyface either. But Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss beat the champion and the #1 contender in a tag team match on SmackDown. So the rumor is that it may become a fatal 4-way match. Now, it may become a fatal 4-way match, and this becomes Ember's big moment. It may become a fatal 4-way, and the Bliss and Cross thing falls apart. It may become a fatal 4-way just to make Bayley a stronger champion and still win, which I really don't see. I could see her using some underhanded tactics to win the match and maybe sort of solidify a little bit of a heel turn. But if it's a fatal 4-way, there's no disqualification. There's no such thing as cheating, so I don't know how they play that off. I'm really interested to see how they play that one off. Or if it stays just a one-on-one match, do Cross and Bliss just get involved somehow, costing the match, have somebody come out and change the match, change the match in the middle. Okay, you know, it was a one-on-one match. That all got thrown out. This is ridiculous. We're going to settle this the only way we know how to settle it. You versus you versus you versus you. Fatal 4-way. In the Fatal 4-way scenario, I would love it to be Nikki Cross that walks out with the title. I'm just saying. Natalya versus Becky Lynch, I still don't care about. The possibility of it becoming a submission match doesn't really add anything to it. Now that we have Trish Stratus confirmed as our third Canadian, Natalya being in there for the hometown pop, even though she's from the other side of the country, just doesn't work anymore. I don't care. It could literally be anybody else. Throw Alexa in with Ember Moon and Bayley. Throw Nikki Cross in against Becky Lynch because of the interactions that they had on Raw. These are all better options than Natalya, who I really don't care about. And Lesnar Rollins is Lesnar Rollins. Lesnar is the part-timer who's really hard to get behind at this particular point, and Rollins is the guy who's, you know, sort of universally hated by everybody except me, it seems, recently, because he dared to stick up for himself and his roster in the company that he works for, and that's not popular to do right now because it's much more popular to shit on WWE. That's my 2 cents on that. I really sound like crap. My camera doesn't even want to work tonight. This has been the video. Hopefully next week when I put some previews together with maybe Kristen, maybe Guapo, maybe both of them, it'll be a little bit better than this was tonight. Thank you for listening to everything that I've had to say about all of this. Thank you for indulging me in this little mini-series of just, hey guys, this is some shit that I'm excited about. Hopefully it's going to be good. As I say, Destiny, TakeOver, the NXT taping, SummerSlam, Raw, SmackDown, and 205 Live. Technically, I'm going to 7 shows in 5 days in a week and a half from now. And not to be sappy, but whatever else is going on right now, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And can't be all bad, right? Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
Freak like me.